So in a previous lesson, we talked about the difference between a toxic relationship, and we also looked at a healthy relationship, and we tried to compare the two, and we realized that a healthy relationship is one that nurtures, whereas a toxic relationship is one that actually controls. So how can an individual be able to determine whether a relationship is actually toxic or not toxic? So this brings us to a point where we got to talk about the signs of a toxic relationship, which I want to highlight, and I hope it's going to be useful. The sign number one is that you always feel emotionally drained after interaction with that individual, meaning that you're the one who is always giving, or a lot has been stuffed, on you. So you feel emotionally drained, and this happens in most cases after you have interacted with the people that you relate with. So that is very dangerous. That if it is that every time you're finding yourself, you're emotionally drained, you're doing a lot of thinking, or there's a lot of stuffing in your mind, so much that you have to really grapple with, that is occasioned by a people or a person that you relate with, that is very toxic. That is a symptom, that is a sign that you are into a toxic relationship. Remember, we said previously that in a healthy relationship, we're expecting that an individual will enjoy peace. The second sign that you might be in a toxic relationship is the constant feeling that you're walking on eggshells. And what do I mean when I talk of walking on eggshells? It basically means that you always find yourself having fear of probably walking away or speaking the truth to a person because of fear of being judged by that very person. Because remember that because it's a toxic relationship, the person you relate with is always taking control of that relationship, and therefore it means that this relationship is actually very dangerous. So the second point here, the sign is that you're always constantly walking on eggshells, and it becomes very difficult. You always have this fear, and you cannot be able to make a decision, you cannot make a judgment, you cannot make a contribution because of fear of being intimidated by the said persons or an individual. The other sign is your opinions and feelings or boundaries are dismissed at all times. So sometimes you realize that we come up with opinions, and sometimes about your boundaries that you have set, and you don't want people to probably drain you any further. So it becomes a challenge, it becomes a problem, and this is very dangerous. That sometimes your opinions and your feelings and your boundaries are actually dismissed by individuals, and because they're already taking control over you, so they tend to actually dismiss your feelings. You come up with an opinion, they tend to dismiss your opinion, and this is very dangerous. The other one is that they use love, money, silence, or anger as control tools. So be very careful that the people who are in a toxic relationship that you need to really be careful about is they use money, and sometimes they use love, they use silence as a tool to just control you, and you must be very careful, be very, very careful. Last but not least, we can also talk about you finding yourself always made to feel guilty for setting boundaries. So you get to a point where you're feeling guilty for setting your boundaries, because they will tell you, like, why